I was pouring gravy when my mother said it, casually, as if she were suggesting we pass the salt. Your brother and his kids will move in with you next month. You have the space. The fork froze halfway to my mouth. My brother smiled like it was already done. His wife whispered something to him, smirking as if she'd just won a prize. I chewed the cold meat in silence and nodded. I didn't argue, not that night. I just let it hang in the air, the decision they'd made for me. There was a time when my brother and I were close. He was the golden child, charming, reckless, adored. I was the quiet one who worked, saved, built things. My parents saw his flaws and called them personality. They saw my silence and called it attitude. When I bought my house, it was the first thing that was truly mine. I'd worked double shifts, skipped vacations, stayed in when others went out. And when I finally got the keys, I thought, maybe now they'll see me. They didn't. When my brother divorced last year, I helped him financially, paid part of his rent, bought his kids school supplies. I told myself it was family. He told everyone else it was his idea. That's when I started noticing it. My family's habit of assuming I'd fix their messes, quietly, without question. It was a Wednesday when I overheard them, my mother and brother in her kitchen. They didn't know I'd arrived early. She won't say no, my mother said. She never does. My brother laughed. Yeah, she owes us. After all, who else does she have? That sentence stayed with me. Who else does she have? Not a question, a weapon. I walked out before they saw me. I drove home and sat in the driveway, the porch light flickering above me. I realized I was their safety net, their solution, their silent slave. Something inside me shifted that night. It wasn't rage, it was calculation. I stopped picking up calls, answered texts hours late, started researching housing prices, legal options, and, quietly, buyers. The market was good. My neighborhood was rising in value. By the time my family announced their moving plans to friends, I was already negotiating the sale. No one knew, not my coworkers, not my parents, not even my lawyer. I told the buyers I wanted a quiet closing. No signs, no announcements. The money hit my account 3 weeks later. I moved into a furnished apartment downtown, a short-term lease under a different name. I transferred my mail to a P.O. box. Every move deliberate, every step invisible. Then I waited. 2 days before they were supposed to move in, my mother called. We're packing up your brother's things. He's excited. The kids are too. I told them you'd painted the rooms already. I smiled. Yeah, the house looks different now. And it did. Empty. Sold. Gone. The next morning they pulled up to the house in a rented truck. I watched from across the street, coffee in hand, leaning against my car. The for sale sign wasn't there. It had been replaced by a sold sticker 2 weeks earlier. My brother got out first, confused. Then my mother. Then the kids. They tried the key. It didn't work. He called me. I let it ring twice before picking up. What the hell? The lock's changed, he shouted. Yeah, I said calmly. It's not my house anymore. What do you mean it's not your... What the fuck are you talking about? I sold it. Silence. Then chaos. His voice breaking, my mother yelling in the background, the kids asking what was wrong. I kept my tone soft. You said I'd never say no, so I didn't. I just said nothing. They came to my apartment that evening, angry, humiliated. I opened the door, let them in. My brother's face was red, his hands shaking. You sold it just to spite us? No, I said. I sold it because it was mine to sell. My mother tried guilt next. Your brother is struggling. The children. They're his children, I cut in. His responsibility, not mine. Her lips trembled, but I wasn't moved. You always thought I'd bend, I continued, because I kept the peace, because I stayed quiet. But quiet doesn't mean weak. It just means I wait until the noise burns itself out. I handed my brother a printed sheet, the number of a rental agency, listings near their old place. Try this. They might help. He looked at me like I'd stabbed him. Maybe I had, just not with a knife. A week later, my mother called again, not to scold this time, to ask. Are you happy now? She said, her voice small. I'm free, I replied. She didn't speak after that, just breathed into the phone for a few seconds before hanging up. I stood by the window of my new place, city lights reflecting on the glass. No family pictures, no memories on the walls. Just silence. Peaceful, earned silence. For the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty for protecting what was mine. People think revenge is loud, explosive, but mine was quiet, legal, clean. I didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't beg them to see my worth. I simply removed the ground they stood on. Ground.